One Piece chapter 962. So I made like a complete 180 on this flashback after this chapter. I really enjoyed this one, and I'm actually looking forward to where this goes, and I don't mind if it drags on for a little longer. It's just become more fun and interesting than it was initially. So I just want to talk about a few select things in this review rather than just going over the chapter in its entirety, so let's get into it. So it turns out that Izo and Kiku are brothers, and that's kind of a twist right there, right? So Izo is the 16th commander of the Whitebeard Pirates. We saw this character most prominently during the Paramount War. He used like 2 pistols, and I guess he had like a sword too, but that's super interesting that they're connected there. And they were also like dancing fan boy things when they were younger. That's exactly how Oda depicted Izo as a youngster when he drew like all of those characters in their young ages like a couple years ago. So that's cool how that all ties together. And it also makes sense as to how this is connecting to Whitebeard, because at the end of this chapter it says 6 years after the fact that the survivors of the legendary Rocks pirate crew started recruiting. So yeah, one of them is Whitebeard. We see him prominently on display there. So what I'm assuming happened was Whitebeard eventually got to Wano, or one of his recruiters did, or through the grapevine, Oden was recruited by Whitebeard and decided to leave and go join his ship, just to, get out and experience and have an adventure and stuff. And then Izo, Nekomamushi, and Arashi went with him, because those 3 are also former Whitebeard pirates. And then I guess all of the other scabbards / retainers, they just decided to stay behind in Wano, because I guess they had to stay there because they just, came in control of Curry. That just became like a new thing. So one of them had to stay behind, and I guess all of them, they were just like, yeah, we'll just stay and man the fort. And then Odin's like, I'll come back eventually, because he does. And I'm sure this will all be revealed in the next chapter. And then Izo, I suppose, decides to stay with the Whitebeard Pirates and becomes their 16th commander. And that's how this all connects and that all plays out. And also, Nekomamushi and Arashi, we see them at the end of this chapter. Those are the 2 mink dudes that wash up on the shore, greeted by Kawamatsu. And also, now that we're seeing Izo brought up again, and given what happens at the beginning of Wano with Marco and Nekomamushi connecting there, it's possible that Izo might be reintroduced into this war once it gets started. Given that we're finding out that they're siblings with Kiku, and Kiku was probably presumed dead because Kiku went through the future, maybe they're gonna have a reuniting thing here. That would be cool. But then also that could mean that the remaining Whitebeard pirates might come over to Wano. Now initially it didn't seem like this was going to happen, because Marco said that he wanted to stay where he was in case Weevil attacked. But now it seems like Weevil might not attack anymore, because he's, has his hands tied with the Marines coming after him. That's the last time we saw him, because, of the warlords being abolished. So maybe he finds out about that, Marco finds out about that somehow, and then he's like, okay, now Nekomamushi, I'll go with you to Wano, or something like that. Or maybe just the other Whitebeard pirates do, and just Marco stays, or he just recruits them for him. But given that we're seeing Izo here, I think it's possible that he might come back. So now let's roughly power scale young Oden, and that might correlate to current, or should I say peak Oden, before he kicks the bucket. Because we're seeing that he takes down Ashura Doji in this chapter. We already knew that they had fought. This was revealed by him earlier on in the arc. But we're seeing that, it was kind of, competitive. I mean, granted, Ashura Doji did have a whole bunch of dudes with him, and Oden took them down too. So maybe Oden took them down beforehand, and then he took out Ashura Doji, or he was fighting them all together. Regardless, this is a very impressive feat by Oden. And given that Ashura Doji says to Kinemon that he has become stronger over time, which means that he was probably weaker at that time. So the feats that we see him pulling off against Jack, which is his most prominent feat, which gives us a real good idea of how powerful he is, because he essentially wrecks Jack. I mean, he doesn't completely destroy him, but he shows super speed, and he cuts up Jack's torso, I guess, relatively easy. It's probably better of a feat than what we saw of Nekomamushi and Arashi, or at least just around that level, if not a little above it. And Arashi is another guy that he clashed with, proving that they're all around that commander level. Not necessarily right-hand commander level, because I don't think they're that strong, you know, like the King or the Ben Beckman level stuff, but they're like relative to a standard Yonko commander, one of the more powerful ones, because Jack is no chump. So given that Odin like mid to high diffed him, like somewhere in between that, maybe not high diff, because it seems like Odin could keep going after this, but he certainly messed up. But we also have to take into account, like I said, he was fighting a lot of dudes, not just Ashura Doji. We don't really know how this all went down exactly, but Ashura Doji is completely done. But given that he did take some damage, you know, there's not like a huge discrepancy in their power, but he is certainly more powerful than him. So it's difficult to say how powerful young Odin is at this point in time, because we don't know like if he has hockey. We don't know if anybody has hockey at this point. We haven't seen it as far as I know. But also he is using Enma, so that's pretty impressive there, because you need to be like ridiculously powerful just to be able to use that thing. So he's probably like, I don't know, supernova level at this point, whatever that is, you know, not like high supernova, but like baseline, like a super powerful rookie, like somebody that would have like north of a 100 million bounty. Just taking a guess, because, you know, he has a long way to go in his power. But if we're, you know, correlating this to the present, and given how strong Ashura Doji is right now, and given how Odin is the only person, I guess, at least the only person that we know of to wound Kaido, like he gave him that X-shaped scar that he has, man, he's got to be like Admiral, low Admiral, I'll say. I don't think all Admirals created equally, and I don't think there's a big difference between Admiral and Yonko. That's a whole other discussion, but I'm thinking like he's more than like a right-hand commander. I mean, anybody that can give Kaido somewhat of a competitive fight like that and even wound him, I'm thinking he's got to be like on like that Fujitora level, like low or mid-admiral, whatever you want to call that. I don't think he's much higher than that, and I don't think he's going to like a Kainu territory or anything like that. Or like other definitive Yonko, like Shanks territory. I don't think he's that strong, but I think he would be an admiral today. Like he would be like where Fujitora and Green Bull are. But that's pretty much it for the chapter. I mean, aside from that, we're seeing like Orochi still being a scumbag in his early days, stealing the money and then accusing Odin of doing it, and Yasui saw through it, so I don't think there's really going to be any bad blood there. And then we're just going to continue the flashback after this. We still have to have Nekomamushi and Arashi be recruited into one of his retainers, as well as Kawamatsu, so I'm sure that's going to take up the beginning of the next chapter. Then we might get a meeting between Whitebeard and Odin soon. And then we also still have the whole Toki thing. Like, that's eventually going to happen. Odin meeting Toki and how they come to, you know, be married or whatever, and then her. We might actually see the whole time leap into the future thing. That would be pretty cool. I just hope that we eventually see Odin versus Kaido, or just at least one panel of it. You know, that's fine. But if you liked the review, guys, please give it a like. Let me know what you thought about this. Is it too soon to power scale Odin? It definitely is, but I think we should just give it a rough estimate, at least for now. And if you liked it, please give it a like. I also have a Patreon. It gives you access to a weekly Q&A, and if you haven't already, please subscribe as well. Have a great day, and I'll see you in the next one.